Welcome to Distracted, the podcast with Angela Lockwood, the place where you will find practical brain-boosting strategies, expert insights, and real-life stories to help busy brains thrive in the age of distraction. Let's go. Welcome to Distracted. I'm Angela Lockwood, and today I want to share with you a new book that I've been reading. And I don't know if you've listened to some of my podcasts before. For those of you that are new listeners, I love sharing knowledge that I have found, stories that I have read or listened to from people who are in the space of helping us use our time, our energy, and our attention better. And this book, it's interesting, came to me in a way that it seems to be a lot of books do. And now you're going to have to stick with me through the woo-woo a little bit here. One of the things I find when I am on the lookout for books or I'm wanting to find information is books almost just appear to me. And what I mean by this, as an example, this book that I'm going to be sharing with you today, and just some of the insights that the book has already sort of given me, is I was walking through a bookstore and I was sort of just wondering. I love being inspired by the topics. I love being inspired by titles, by beautiful covers, and just being immersed in, that real positive energy that bookstores have. And sometimes I feel like I'm just getting smarter by being there. But I was wandering sort of through the bookstore looking, and my eyes just laid on this front cover. It is so beautiful. It had this sort of, I guess it sort of, to me, looks like Canada, which is a place that I have lived and love visiting. And it was called Slow Productivity. And it's written by Cal Newport. He's the best-selling author of Digital Minimalism and Deep Work. Now, the thing about this book that really stood out to me, and the link to Canada, was it has an image on the front. Now, I don't know if it's Canada. It could be somewhere else, but it was this beautiful, serene image of mountains, slightly snow-capped, beautiful pine trees, and a beautiful sort of crisp blue teal river in front of it. And it was sort of it's not your typical book cover. It's not screaming out at you. It's not sort of screaming for your attention to buy it. It's just this beautiful, subtle imagery that invites you to pick it up. And that's exactly what it did to me. The colorings were blue, green, and has this, lovely white, which is all my colors, which obviously I was drawn to. But when I saw the title as well, being Slow Productivity, well, the book had me. Having written myself a book called Switch Off, a book called Switch Off and Find Calm, The Power of Conscious Choice, I am all in on any books that help me understand how we use our time, our energy, and our attention better. And the concept of slow productivity, oh my gosh, it was just, it was like time stood still. Love at first sight, I might even say. But the tagline to the book is The Lost Art of Accomplishment Without Burnout. And I want to discuss with you today and just share some of the aha moments I've already had. Now, at the time of the recording of this podcast, I actually haven't even finished the book yet. I'm pretty much well into it. I only bought it a couple of days ago. And it's one of those books where I don't want to put it down. And I'll share with you why. But back to how I found the book. Of course, I was walking through the bookstore and saw this beautiful cover of this beautiful, serene imagery with this captivating title. But like what happens to me very often is I looked at the book and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to have that. And it was like it jumped off the shelf and jumped into my hands. But when I looked around, it was really weird because there was no other book like it. There was not even a second copy of it on the shelf. There was no, reprint of it. And it was positioned in front of another book. And so it was really strange. It was like someone walked along the bookshelf and popped it on there just for me to see. Now, it could have just, of course, been a very random placement. But if you've followed my work, you know that I don't believe in just random things like this happening. So, of course, in my hand, it was bought and it was opened the first moment I could. So let's share with you, if I've got your intrigue here, around what is slow productivity. I'm not going to spoil the book because I really believe, and I get no kickbacks from this. I just want to share with you what basically the core of what this book is, because if you can grasp the core of what this book is about, I would really encourage you to go and buy it, and it'll go in further to how you can adopt slow productivity into your own life. So again, the book's called Slow Productivity by Cal Newport, The Lost Art of Accomplishment Without Burnout. And, of course, what I love too, just quietly, if you've ever heard me, there's a couple of endorsements there by Johan Hari, who wrote Stolen Focus, which is another book that I've spoken about before, which is definitely a great read. But let's have a look. I don't know about you, but it always feels like time is going fast, going way too fast. And I'm reminded of this many times myself when I look at my kids, and I've got teenage kids, and I look at them and I think time as a family in the way that they're kids and adults is running out. And I do have people say, no, don't look at it like that, because it's, they're always going to be around. But in my mind, I know it's different. My son he'll get his P's this year, his provisional license, which means he won't need me to ferry him to all the different trainings and all the different outings and the parties and the things that he goes to. He won't need me to do that anymore. And I don't know if for those of you that are parents that are listening, it's those moments in the car with kids that I absolutely cherish, and you might too. They're the times where you're sort of locked in the car and you've got their undivided attention when they don't have their headphones in listening to music. But you have these beautiful conversations, particularly with my son, because other than that, it's always about busyness of life, of taking them here, there, and everywhere. And for my daughter, I've got a few years left of her with doing that, but I can see through them moving through their teenage life that my time with them is limited in the way of mother and children. And it'll change and it will develop and it will evolve, which as it has their entire life. But even I look towards my relationship with my parents, they're aging, and time for me is always a reminder every time I see them that we don't actually go on forever, and I know that we know this logically, but intuitively, I don't know if we quite grasp that time won't wait for us, that time just keeps going, whether we like it or not. And without getting too sad about all this, because it's also, we have the gift of time as well, that we have the ability to choose and use time as we want and we need. But what I'm reminded of time and time again in working with so many different people who are all trying to find time, energy, and better focus in their lives, is that this struggle with time is a constancy. It's something that is a frequent frustration or cause of concern for people, in that how do we use our time better? And if we can understand that time will run out, that time doesn't wait for us, then what it does is that it gives us the ability to choose how we use our time. Let me just say that again, that if time won't wait for us, then what we do is we have that gift of the ability to be able to choose how we use our time. And when I say that, a lot of people might be thinking, but I don't, I have to work. I'd love to be on holidays all the time. I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work, or, I'm always in the car taking kids to all their different things, or it might, whatever it is for you. All of those things are there. Yes, of course, you can't just choose to pack in work and not work, and live an abundant life that you might choose for yourself and take families on overseas holidays and do all these wonderful things by not working. So there are things that, yes, you do have to do in your life to be able to live it how you choose. But I think what we forget time and time again, and reading this book, Slow Productivity, again has hit home for me, that we do have the ability to choose how we use our time. And it was in my first book, The Power of Conscious Choice, that I explored this very concept around the ability to choose what to do next and what happens in our brain, what happens in our mind, what happens in our actions to be able to make the best possible choice with the information that we have. So if you are listening to this right now and you feel like you're chasing your tail and you feel like you're running around in circles and that life seems to be happening to you, then this episode is really important. And in fact, I'd encourage you to go and buy the book. I'd encourage you to buy Slow Productivity, but I'd also maybe encourage you to buy Switch Off. You can buy Switch Off, my own book, at all leading bookstores or online at Booktopia, Amazon, wherever you find all of your books. Switch Off or Switch Off and Find Calm is the latest version. And what I do is I explore in that book as well is the concept of, in order to keep up, we actually need to slow down. And what I love is I wrote that book back in 2017. And this book by Cal Newport was published in 2024. So it's a brand new book. And here I was talking about this in 2017, and I was inspired by Carl Hanor's book. He's an amazing journalist and writer, Under Pressure. And he has written books as well around and he actually endorsed my book, which I was very, very excited and humbled by. But Carl spoke about 10 years prior to me writing Switch Off around if we don't choose to slow down, then we're not going to be able to keep up. We're going to find that we're looking for greater fulfillment in other things that we're not currently doing, and that this sort of constancy of running fast and trying to keep up and adding things to our to-do list and doing, what's going to happen is we're going to experience burnout. We're going to experience low levels of satisfaction. We're going to have poor mental health. We're going to feel anxious. We're going to feel all these things. And I see now this has all come to life. And it's not that we were predicting a future that was unknown. We've known this all along. We've known it because we've been talking about it for so long. But the challenge is we have technology around us, we have societal expectations around us, we have our own expectations around how do we create a meaningful life. And creating a meaningful life seems to have the attachment to doing. That in order to have a meaningful, fulfilled life, then you need to be always active. You need to be doing so many things. You need to be involved in 3 boards. You need to be the coach of your son's soccer team. You need to be, employed in this amazing role that allows you to travel around the world. You need to be doing, and it's this need to constantly be doing. And interestingly, I say all those in isolation, but sometimes people are doing all of those things at once. And we wonder why we're feeling so tired. We're wondering why we're feeling like our life is just an endless cycle of things to do. And sometimes it is. It can feel like that you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is you pick up your phone and you invite the world into your life, into your working morning regime, your waking up regime in the morning with all the stresses of everybody else. But what we actually do is we have the ability to block that off. We have the ability to choose how we wake up in the morning. We have the ability to choose the health habits that we create over the course of the day. We also have the ability to choose how we wind down at night and have great sleep. And so there's all these choices that we have. But let's go back to Cal Newport's book, Slow Productivity. Okay, it's what I opened with. And what he says in his book, Slow Productivity, the definition of it is a philosophy for organizing knowledge, work efforts in a sustainable and meaningful manner based on the following 3 principles. Number 1 is do fewer things. Already love it. Number 2, work at a natural pace. And number 3, obsess over quality. So this is what he explains slow productivity is. So it's a philosophy for organizing knowledge work, efforts in a sustainable and meaningful manner. And it's based on those 3 things. So if that already goes, that sounds interesting, then go buy the book. Because what he does is he goes into each of those three things in a lot more detail and translates that into how you can apply that in your working life. Okay, but I just want to explain and explore with you, not to actually, do you know, I just want to calm things down. So I see so many people, like, I'm a busy lady, but it's really interesting to see the days where I feel like I need to be doing so many different things at once. And let me give you an example of what this might be. I might start in the day and open up my emails, and all the emails are there, and I start responding to them, and then I look at my to-do list, and then I get distracted by another email that comes in, and then something else pops up, and then what happens is my brain is getting pulled from that task to that task to that task, and before I know it, half the day's over, and I haven't even gotten to what my priority was that I set for myself for that day, because immediately I was trying to do lots of different tasks at once. And I've covered this before in a lot of my work, is around the switching the switching toll that it takes when we're moving and multitasking between multiple things. But what I find often is that my brain on days like that gets really tired. So I almost hit a point of no return where my brain just goes, hey, I'm tapping out, just letting you know. Sometimes it doesn't let me know, but I am tapping out today because you've pushed me to the limit. You have pushed me way too far. I can't do this anymore. And of course, there's lots of things that impact that. So there's things like my sleep quality. It might be my hormones at the time. It might be the level of the tasks that I was just doing. It might be my nutrition that I had. It could be the environment that I'm working in. But what happens to a point is when we are pushing through too much, when we're trying to do so many things at once, this is not a lesson in multitasking, but when we're trying to do too many things at once and moving and shifting between so many different things without giving ourselves that ability to stop and press pause and decompress, what happens is that our productivity is reduced. So we think we're doing a lot more, but what we actually know is that by doing more tasks, doing it quickly, and I guess just skimming the surface of those, we're not doing our best quality work. We're not actually doing things to the best of what it can be. And what I love in this is Cal Newport talks about in the book Slow Productivity. He talks about and references his other book, Deep Work. And it's something that I've tried before. Let me just explain to you what deep work is. It's like some people think of it as time blocking, where you go between that time in the day and that time in the day, I am working on that one thing. Now, that one thing could be a whole lot of things. It could, that one thing could be something that's applicable for you. Let me explain what I mean by that. Is that one thing could be you're working on a sales project. That one thing could be that you are just making dinner. That's it. You're just making dinner. You're not on your phone. You're not marking, kids, your students' schoolwork. What you're doing is you're making dinner. It might be that you're only going to respond to emails between that time and that time. It could be that you are only exercising between that time and that time. But deep work is more in reference to doing work. So your projects, emails, things that are in reference to work. But it could also be creative elements too, that if your work is about painting or creating, deep work could be just working on one element of that. The concept of deep work is like you're not doing all of these different things at once and skimming the surface on quality and depth. What you're doing is you're going deep on one thing. Now, this is a game changer for me, particularly somebody who has quite a fast brain, and I can do lots of things at once. I have the ability to, but what I know is that I don't necessarily do it all particularly well. And I know that the days where I allocate, right, today is my content creation day, and that's all I do. I get to the end of the day and I'm like, that was a bit easier today. That day seems easy. It almost seems like I was in flow, and sometimes I really am. And what I also find, and as I mentioned earlier, that there's days when my brain, I feel, literally switches off, and not in a great way, not in the choosing switch off way. It's actually in the way my brain just goes, I'm tired, I'm done. Those days where I do my deep work, where I block out a time and I go between, say, 8:30 and 10:30, that is what I'm working on. I get to the end of the day and I'm actually more energized. I feel more energetic. I feel more, have better clarity in my thinking. And I don't have that exhaustion that often comes with, working through lots of different small tasks. And tasks can also be, you think about, you have 5 meetings in a day. And then usually people have 1-hour meetings, and that's 5 hours of your day where you've been sitting, attending, and trying to think of everyone's different ideas and writing list tasks down. That's exhausting. And no wonder we get to the end of the day and we don't have the energy to be able to do the things that we really want to do. We come home tired, and we just don't do the stuff that we love. So what I love around the concept of slow productivity, okay, is first of all the encouragement for us just to slow down. And a lot of people think that this is a luxury. I hear it all the time. That's fine for you to say. You work for yourself. You don't have a boss that's telling you what to do. What I love about slow productivity is that it actually unpacks what that could look like for you, and that you do have a choice in no matter what work environment that you find yourself in. But this concept of slow, of course, I embrace it. I have talked about it for years. But this concept of slow, that running faster, doing more, adding more in to an already full plate, will only result in tipping you over the edge. Okay? That if you already feel like life is too fast for you, that your energy is depleting, that you are racing to keep up, that you are feeling stressed when you open up your emails or when you look at your to-do list, it's just this never-ending cycle. One strategy I love that Cal shares in the book, other than doing the deep work, is just choosing one thing that you're going to do in the next day. In fact, he sort of shares 3, but if you were just to choose one thing that you could do today that will give you satisfaction that it is gone, that you have started it, or that it's in progress, what would that one thing be for you? And what I love about that, just think that one thing, like rather than having 20 things, which a lot of us have on our list for the day, what's one thing that you can do that'll clear space for you, that'll allow things to slow down for you? Okay, now it doesn't mean that once you do that one thing, it's kick back and relax and you can go home. But what it means is that it clears space for you. And what we know with space, we can't slow down unless there's space to allow us to do that. Okay, so what a lot of people will do is that they will take this concept and go, right, I've got to slow down. That's it. I'm going on holidays. Boom. And then they work so hard up to it. They go on holidays. And I know you know this. You might have even done this yourself. Go up on holidays. The first 3 days you're sick, or the first week, and you end up spending most of your holidays sick. Okay. What it's finding slow in your life is about, it's about choosing to do things with more intention and not adding more. Okay, it's more about doing less. Okay, so the key word to what I just said there was around intentionality. Okay, being intentional with how you use your time, being intentional with how you use your energy, and being intentional with how you use your focus. Because, as I said earlier, time will not wait for us. Time will not wait for us, but time will also, I just think time's such a precious thing. We hear it all the time. Time is the most valuable commodity, but we seem to want to cram so much into it, thinking that we're using it well. But in fact, most of our brilliant leaders of this time and previous times have created what they've created when they've created space in their life, not through the pushing, or they've created amazing things through testing, or through just sitting back and wondering and looking at how the universe works, or looking at how people behave with each other. And it doesn't mean it's not anti getting things done, man. I love a great to-do list and I love ticking things off. But what if that list could be more meaningful for you? It could be more productive for you, and it could be more in tuned and in alignment with what you want in your life. So I'm not saying scrap the to-do list. I'm not saying scrap ambition. I'm not saying scrap all the things you want to do in your life. But what I am asking for you to do is look at how you are currently living your life. Look at the tasks that you are currently filling in your day, and just ask yourself, how can I clear space within this? How can I find more meaning in this by doing fewer things? How can I find space within my day to be able to feel calm, feel at ease, feel that sense of being able to just breathe? Where can you create space in your life to do that? Okay. And where in my life can I look and go, I don't want to do things just at skim level. I don't want to just do things and tick them off and move on, tick them off, move on. Man, I've fallen into that trap so many times in my life where I've achieved something. I remember even in the writing of The Power of Conscious Choice, huge achievement. It was a self-published book that I did. I was so proud of it. I shared some really amazing stories about my background. It was really cathartic for me. Really a book I was so proud of, involved in every element of it. I had a team of people around me who I just loved working with. But I remember getting that book. It was I was living in an apartment complex, and that book came in all its boxes underneath and the car park. And we opened up the back of the door, and there was all these boxes. I can remember taking one of the books out and looking at it and just going, wow. And it was just that one moment. But then I was like, great, what's next? And then I just kept going. And so looking back at that, I go, I wonder if I allowed myself more time to enjoy the achievement of what writing that book was. Would it, I don't know, have been a different experience? Probably. And there's some patterns in my life where I have achieved things and I've just ticked it off and moved on. But it's not just the achievement I'm asking you to look at. It's also about the day-to-day tasks of going, how can I sit here and go, how can I go deeper on this? And how can I enjoy this experience? But how can I do my best work? How can I bring the best of myself to what I'm doing? And I can guarantee you it's not by speeding things up. It's not about doing more things, cramming more things on your plate. It's about doing things intentionally. It's about doing fewer things and also doing things in a way that brings you joy. So hopefully you've enjoyed my thoughts today around Cal Newport's new book, Slow Productivity, but also on how you can bring more slow into your life. And I'd see this episode today more of a reflection for you. I hope it brings up some things, some little aha moments for you to go, oh, yes, Ange, I'm hearing you. I am really hearing you. I need to create that space because I feel things are too fast. They're too constricted. And even listening to this, you may have even felt it in your body. You may have felt it in your chest. You may have felt a tightness in your head or in your belly. But if you did, it's okay. You now know there's plenty of information and resources out there. If you need support on this, please head on over to my website at angelalockwood.com.au and either book in a Zoom chat with me and see where we can start, or even a focus session, and we can get you started on creating more space and helping you find more slow in your life. But thanks so much for joining me, everyone, today. I wish you all the very best until next episode. I'm Angela Lockwood. Please share this with somebody who you feel really needs to hear this now, or that you just care so deeply about that you want them to find more space in their life so they can enjoy the things that they deserve. All right, everyone, take care. Until next time, thanks so much for joining me.